folks. It's Friday night. Game Night Live is on the air. It's Glenn from 103.5, the Calamit's Capital FM, part of the Northern Lights Entertainment chain. And tonight on Northern Lights Entertainment YouTube, we've got Game Night Live and a special guest dropping by. His name, Tommy D. How you doing, Tom?
I'm great, Glenn. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Good to have you along. Guys are just dropping by the chat now. We'll let them get cozy, pull up an armchair, and maybe hop on the couch, get ready for some Juan Soto talk in the show. But, my friends, it has been a busy day today. Major League Baseball. For Blue Jay fans, Jordan Romano, he's cut loose. For Giant fans, oh, brother. Oh, brother. Are you ready for this, guys? If you missed it earlier on Giant Sports Talk Live, special 2-hour show, we had a whole host of folks from around the world joining us in our chat. The San Francisco Giants avoided arbitration with Mike Yastrzemski today. Tommy and I will talk about that. The Giants, is it a mismanagement of money? $9.25 million deal. Yikes. Now, we wanted Juan Soto. There have been no talks that we know of with Soto. Where does Soto play? Right field. Where does Mike Yastrzemski play? Right field. That's not the news I wanted. All right, Tom. Before we start the show, we got the Golden State Warriors right now in a close one. They're playing at New Orleans tonight. Let's see. What else have we got going on? In the NHL, holy smoke, the Winnipeg Jets really don't know what it's like to lose. The Sharks do. They're back in action tomorrow night taking on the Buffalo Sabres. You're joining us on Twitter, now known as X, or on YouTube at Northern California Sports and Entertainment Network. Welcome on in. Good to have you. All right, right off the bat, let's talk about the topic of the night. More to come about the Giants and other sports. But first, Juan Soto. Tommy D, you're in New York. You cover the team for WFAN Radio. You're also over in Flushing from time to time, covering those Mets. You've got Mets, Yankees, New York blood. Tell me, what's going on lately in the Soto sweepstakes?
All right. Glenn, listen, the Juan Soto sweepstakes is crazy. It just gets bigger and bigger by the day. Hal Steinbrenner held a meeting with Juan Soto and his agent, the one and only Scott Boras, in California. A lot of candid back and forth about what both sides want. Hal also spoke today, the meetings in Manhattan, the winter meetings. So there's a lot going on. And starting for Soto is going to be $600 million. I think it could go as high as $720 million, maybe even higher. It depends upon the years. But I think we're locked in. I would say 12 years, $600 million, and then that could go. It could go from there. Maybe 12 years, $60 million a year would give you $720 million. It's just where the money is right now. And we were just talking, Kansas City, talk about dark horse. They may be in the sweepstakes. San Francisco might be out of it, but Kansas City come in. Hey, you never know. I mean, look, the White Sox are looking to trade Crochet. It's not a matter of if, it's when. I don't think they'll get involved on the Soto sweepstakes. I think it's Yankees 35%, Mets 15%, then the Dodgers, Giants. Maybe the Cubs get involved. The Red Sox have already had discussions with him. So a lot of different things going on. But it's heating up. And I think this will be settled by Christmas, probably early mid-December, but definitely Christmas.
Tom, I mentioned off the top of the show, the Giants avoid arbitration with Mike Yastrzemski today. It's a almost $10 million deal, $9.25 million. That move shows the Giants not going to rock the boat maybe too much this offseason. We hoped, Eric had hoped, we got everybody into a frenzy, hoping he would come with the Bay Area's bad boys, the San Francisco Giants. It doesn't look like it's in the cards. Now, question Eric and I have discussed. Eric's really in on this one. The fact that, you're getting teams like Kansas City, apparently Tampa Bay, Boston, a lot of teams in the mix. Do you think perhaps, you're talking big money, what about these teams like Kansas City and Tampa? Do you think maybe, we're not hearing a whole lot right now, but maybe, like last year with Boros, Soto's not going to get the money he wants?
No, I think he'll get the money he wants. This is news about Tampa Bay because he would be their entire payroll and then some. Unfortunate for them because of all the hurricanes, they're going to be playing at George Steinbrenner Field, about a capacity of 11,000 people for the time being, and we'll see how long that goes. They just don't have the revenue to sign him. If they do sign him, hey, well, I'll tip my hat and hey, more power to him. But I just don't see the numbers there. Royals are possibly. When you look at the Royal ownership, they are owned by one of the heirs to the Walmart fortune. So they got billions. And now maybe not Steve Cohen billions, depending upon how their stock sale, their stock price and whatever is doing. But they got money. And then you can't get away from Steve Cohen, Mr. Billions himself, anywhere from $9 to $11 billion, officially probably worth a lot more than that. And probably through his Wall Street context can access multiples of that because there are some Mets fans out there who got deep pockets. And okay, Cohen will be the leader and they'll just say, how much do you need, Steve? They want to see the Mets win. Hell, even Bernie Madoff was a Mets fan. So, I mean,
I like your analogy. You always say that, when it comes to the Mets, just back up the Brinks truck. They got so much money they can spend. My
exactly.
God. Daniel is in the chat with us tonight. Glenn, glad you referred me over here. Daniel drops by our other show. You're familiar with it, Tom. Giants Sports Talk Live, also available up on YouTube, or heard every night, heard, whichever, for those who may be impaired. We have got our show at 8 p.m. It'll return tonight. We'll be talking about Mike Yastrzemski. Earlier today, Eric and I did an impromptu 2-hour show talking about the signing of Yaz. We're a little disheartened. Eric is still holding out hope. But Daniel, he joins us over there. He enjoys talking about the Warriors. He's a big Sacramento Kings guy. We have common ground on the Giants, but he's not too keen on what we've got coming in 2024. Now, is silence golden, Tom? The fact you're not hearing a whole lot about what guys are offered as far as those teams, we've heard rumblings, maybe some innuendo and some rumors, but there's not a whole lot of Soto financial talk out there right now, is there?
Well, it depends upon where you look, in the sense that when you look at MLB.com, ESPN, and other outlets, they'll talk numbers. But as far as those final,
no legitimate number. I mean, they're talking. I mean, right now it's rumors. I'm hearing, it could go this, could go that, but right. I haven't seen many offers on the table, or at least put out there in the public.
You're correct, because I think first of all they're all kinds of sensing what is the market, what are the leaks, and then so based upon that. But I really believe the floor starts at $600 million, 12 years, $50 million a year. Now with the Ohtani deal, how that was done, that may skew the math a lot differently, because they said, listen, if the Dodgers can do it for Ohtani, guess what? We could do it for Soto. So we shall see. The money's coming down. I know Daniel Severa's got Yaz fever, and so who's the Soto guy you speak of? Too funny, man.
We're talking about him tonight. One of the notes we had up on our banner to start the show with the fact that Eric and I also have talked about this on Giant Sports Talk Live. There's the money. All right, Tom. They're talking the numbers are going to be huge. Any way you slice it. But what about Soto's ego? I mean, to play in New York, he's got to share the spotlight, and I would dare say the captaincy, the man in charge there, Aaron Judge. He's going to play a second fiddle role, always to Judge. Do you think he wants, or in the back of mind is thinking, hey, I could possibly make the big money and go to a town where I rule the roost?
I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist. Although I've spoken to many over the years. One. I just need many. I need many.
A whole team of them.
After the World Series. Whole team. Oh, man. Won't even get started on the World Series, man.
No, we'll save that for another show. I don't want to get you upset.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
But do you think he wants to? He could be, if he goes to a place like San Francisco, he's going to rule the roost. He's going to be the king of the, he's going to hold the keys to the kingdom, if you will.
Northern California.
He goes to the Dodgers. He goes to the Yankees. Even, he could be a big star in them. The Mets have some big stars there. So what do you think about that situation and that, that kind of talk? Do you think it's all about money, or do you think it's about his ego and where he plays?
I haven't heard that he's a big egomaniac. And remember, he's played at a few different places already. He's about 26 years old, okay? So, when you look at Judge, congratulations to him, by the way, back-to-back MVPs, and to Ohtani as well. First guy to win it, back-to-back years in different leagues. So, got to tip my hat to him on that. But Soto, I just not enough psychology. I think at this point, I think it's more about the money than it is saying, hey, he's the man. Because look, he wants, it would be nice to be the man like Aaron Judge, but everybody now knows after this year, Soto carried them, what was big in the playoffs, So, Judge is the reason they got to, the number one seed. But it's other guys like Giancarlo Stanton and Soto that carried them to the World Series throughout the playoffs. So that's the catch-22. And Boris obviously is looking out for, number one, himself and his clients. So he'll get top dollar. It's just about where does the guy want to play and what does he think he has the best chance to win? And I think the best chances to win are in New York and also, God forbid, with the Dodgers. Those are the three best chances. Boston would have to wait about a year, to get, encourage other guys in. I don't know what's going on in Toronto, especially after that big move that you were talking about earlier. And then now
the Jordan Romano move? Yeah, he was their closer last year. He had a few injuries, but again, there were a lot of guys, and there's still some names trickling in. A lot of times we see the Major League Baseball trade deadline roll around, and then the next 45 minutes or so, you get a few late stragglers. The paperwork's getting posted, but there's still some players. I don't even know if they're in or they're out. We're still waiting to hear about Lamont Wade Jr. Anybody in the chat know what's going on with Lamont? I haven't heard bupkis yet today. Known as late night Lamont. Maybe he's more like late night. I got to get to sleep because he didn't do anything much late in games last year. He suffered an injury. He was out, missed some significant time. But a lot of people in the San Francisco Giant world are wondering, is he back? What about Duvall? There's a lot of questions to be asked. Don't forget, we talk baseball over on Giant Sports Talk Live. Tommy D, often a guest there. Myself and Eric Romo. You can catch that show. Gets underway at 8 o'clock Pacific. That's at Giants Sports Talk Live. An update. Winnipeg Jets 3, Pittsburgh 1. They are in the third period, late stages 2. Sharks back at it tomorrow night. Golden State now, at my last check, a 3-point lead. And they are in the third quarter, I believe, of that game with just about 8-9 seconds left in the quarter. Tonight we're talking to Juan Soto with my special guest, Tommy D. The show is brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com. Tom, did you know that for the best credit card, the credit card that suits you, my friend, all you got to do is visit BetterCreditCards.com. All kinds of options, credit cards to choose from, different plans on the payments, what they offer. Find out all the details. I'm just here to tell you about it. They have all the answers at BetterCreditCards.com. Proud to have another show on the air tonight as a fine sponsor. Couldn't ask for better. And they allow me to get guests like Tommy D and pay the big salaries to them for taking time to join me on the show. And I say that in jest because you're not getting paid any. I'm not even giving you a gift certificate tonight, Tom. But we appreciate your time. Juan Soto, we're talking about Juan. There's got to be some kind of disappointment. You saw a guy like Shohei Ohtani. He suits up for the Dodgers. Why did he defer money? Why did he want to play in L.A.? Deferring money allowed them to sign other big key bats, sign some pitchers. They had a bit of a struggle, don't get me wrong. They had a hard time getting pitchers on the field healthy in the postseason, but they got the job done. So it worked out. You got 3-time MVP, Shohei Ohtani, goes to L.A., one goal in mind, win the damn World Series, and guess what?
Yep.
He's already done it once. Is he the GOAT?
Yep.
He is. I think you're going to see more rings on his finger, maybe a Tom Brady scenario. He's not going to have you be putting them in his ears by the end of this thing. Is Juan Soto heavily leveraged as a Yankee going, Jesus, I came here and this was a fiasco. Does he want out, Tom? Does he want out?
Glenn, listen, my ears are starting to bleed. Okay. If you talk about multiple rings for the Dodgers, I mean, you're going to have to do health checks on both Eric and myself.
I'm just calling it like it is, Tom. He's the GOAT. And the Dodgers look what they've got on the field. I think the Yankees are missing in a few spots, man. They time to build that club into what it could be.
You know, I was looking at some Don Mattingly stats, and I was lucky. I had the chance to watch Mattingly play as a kid in Oneonta, which is just south of Cooperstown, New York. And when he was in the Yankees organization, working his way up, and Buck Showalter was the manager around that time. And so those guys went on to the big club, did great things. But the thing about whenever you say Ohtani, the GOAT, this, that, and the other, yes, he's a very special talent, no doubt about it. He is the 21st century Babe Ruth, or Babe Ruth is the 20th century Shohei Ohtani. But let's look at longevity. Because if you look at Mattingly, he was a slam dunk Hall of Famer until he got injured. And Ohtani, with all his talent, is a future Hall of Famer. But listen, he's got some injury issues now. You know, he's got the labrum, Tommy John, you know, so let's be careful about the GOAT, and everybody wants the name of the GOAT, and, you know, has 6 rings and coming out of his ears, you know, so Eric and I, we wouldn't cope definitely with that. So we wouldn't cope well with that. Now, he has done the Tom Brady treatment in the sense that he sacrificed the deferment of the money, whereas Brady took less to get Gronk, to get Julian Edelman, other guys, to make sure they were taken care of. And I tip my hat to him, no doubt about it. He is the GOAT in the NFL, no doubt about it. So we're going to see where this goes. Do the Dodgers get involved in the Soto sweepstakes? I think they're one of the top contenders. They got the money to do it. They got the ownership who's willing to invest, and will other teams step up? You know, so my 3 big contenders: Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, and we'll see what happens with everybody else.
And you say it's off air? You said 5%, maybe less, or I think maybe earlier in the show you said 5%, maybe less, getting the Soto in San Francisco. And again, they don't even have any talks. Maybe they do. Do you think a lot of this is top secret? I mean, some stealth under the, back door, dark alley things where we don't even know about it? Or you think, it's trickling out? We're hearing everything.
I think here's the thing. I would say in the pre-Twitter, pre-X.com era, yes, you could do that. But now with social media and everything today, you're going to see guys at restaurants, and everybody's going to be able to triangulate, connect the dots. Where's Boris? Where's Soto? Where's, Yankees, Red Sox? Because everybody's making the pilgrimage to California to meet with Soto. So, that's important to look into. So, I'll just see. Now, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing this correct. Is it Morkatna? Is that right? Is that correct pronunciation?
Morkatna.
Morkatna.
Regular viewer. Thanks for tuning in, Morkatna.
Yes. So he wrote something about Tommy D writing a contract for our boy Soto. I think it's going to be at least $600 million for 12 years, $50 million a year. It could go as high as $720 million over 12 years. Maybe they go 13 years. I mean, so we shall see, man. But if he goes to the Dodgers, then we're all going to be in bad shape. It's going to be really rich and poor.
The rich get richer, man. Tonight's show brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com, proud sponsor of another edition of Game Night Live, which is a Northern Lights Entertainment production. Quick update, too. There's only a minute left in that game between Winnipeg and Pittsburgh, and the Sharks. Wow. They lost in a shootout, but hey, for the Sharks, that's like a win. What a good game last night. They gave up a goal 11 seconds into the match with St. Louis, finished in a 2-2 regulation tie, nothing in the overtime. And again, the Blues won it in the shootout. I'll take that all day long. In the NBA, we've got New Orleans hosting your Golden State Warriors tonight. Bay Area fans, a really, really close game in that one. Let's take a look at the chat tonight. And breaking news, apparently, Tom. Oh, geez. The Giants tender a contract to Lamont Wade Jr. Are you kidding me? So we got Yaz and Lamont in one day, guys. I am not a happy camper, Tom. Not a happy camper. There's got to be better. It's got to be better out there. I know it's going to be a topic of discussion coming up about an hour and a half from now on Giant Sports Talk Live. You can join Eric and I for that, but I'm just not happy. All right, back to New York.
Listen, no, wait a minute. You and Eric need to do a sit down with Giants ownership and management ASAP. Look at the frustrated fans in the chat. Look at you. I mean, I'm worried about Eric, and his mental health, because of all this nonsense. You need to have a meeting with them, like the Sopranos, a sit down and get this ironed out. Are they going to step up? And you could have me as a special guest if you want to put me in on Zoom or, whatever, StreamYard, whatever. That's cool. I'm up for it. To reply to Daniel, yes, 2 titles for any superstar makes him legend. Yes, I agree with that. In the same with Judge. Judge is Judge. Look, he's already got the back-to-back MVPs. He's just got to stay healthy. Future Hall of Famer. By the way, I had a conversation with the contact at the Hall of Fame last evening. So,
tell us more.
We were talking. What's that?
Tell me more.
Well, we were just talking about, first of all, the incoming class for ballot. We agree that Ichiro's a slam dunk. And speaking of great Japanese players, Ichiro really, is great. And, I was a big fan of Hideki Matsui. Also almost caught his Grand Slam home run on his opening day at the old Yankee Stadium in 2003. So Japan has a great tradition of ball players coming to the States.
I heard it almost there, Tom.
Almost caught the foul ball. Almost caught his Grand Slam home run.
And I heard it almost. What the hell happened?
Well, here's the thing. If I might have been able to caught it if I jumped over the railing and down, but that would have been very painful and, could have been life-threatening injury. So,
and a life-altering collectible right there. It would have been up. Would you have kept it, or would that have been on eBay the next day?
I would have negotiated, I would have taken off, especially if I had medical bills to pay, because, at the old right field bleachers, you had where it went down and then it slid down. So I would have had to jump up and then it would have taken me down. So that would have, and the ramp went down. So that would have been very bad, very painful. So
Tommy D is awesome. I'll tell you what, Marquette. And Tommy D brings it. He's one of my favorite guests we get on this show and over on GSTL. Tommy, talk more about the induction, this year's class for the Hall of Fame.
I think it's going to be Ichiro. I think it's going to be CC Sabathia. Look, he's got the World Series rings. He's got 3,000 strikeouts. Those 2 guys are slam dunks. I think Ichiro, if he doesn't get 100%, he'll be really close. CC, he'll get 80, 90+% of the vote. The other guys, we'll see how it comes out. I think Wagner it's his last year of eligibility. That's what my contact at the Hall of Fame and I were talking about last night. I won't say his name because one of my sources, but had a really good discussion. So he thinks Wagner will get in, and so do I. So those 3 right now, then you got to see, of the other guys, what happens to them, how many, let's say Curtis Granderson, who's a good ball player. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but I do think he deserves consideration. It's nice to see him on the ballot. Had a great run with both the Yankees and Mets, and I think he had some time with the Tigers as well. There was a question in the chat from Grand Admiral Shanahan. Do you like Don LaGreca? Actually, I do. I met Don years ago in 2007 outside of Madison Square Garden. The Rangers were hosting the Atlanta Thrashers. Very memorable game. The Rangers won 7-0. I went in there. I was like, oh my God. So it's he's a good guy. Knows his hockey. Great guy. Also met Joey Sylvia, who went on to other ventures. Worked with former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, moved down to Dallas. And Mike, one of the things, I met Michael Kay as well at a different event, with Joe Namath later that year in September of 2007. So been lucky to meet different guys over the years. So just want to note that's it. Love you guys in the chat and all the great stuff. So
Grand Admiral, regular on our channels. And here's a question for you from Daniel Wagner. Does he get in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he gets in. My contact at the Hall of Fame thinks that as well. So
you think so? You think it's?
Yeah.
I said to Eric, what do you think about the Hall of Fame? And I'll tell you where I'm going with this, Tom. Let's examine this. I don't think there's any other Hall of Fame where it's the elite among the elite. You've got so many great ball players, Tom.
Yes.
That fail. Stars of the game you've grown up watching. They're
exactly.
not the Hall of Fame. This is an elite club to be in, isn't it?
It's really the creme de la creme. And we also talked about Pete Rose, who's the MLB hit king. And, Ichiro had loads of hits in Japan, also had, over 3,000 here in the States in MLB, in North America with Toronto as well. And we got talking about Rose. And let's just say it wasn't only the gambling. There was some other stuff, in his private life. Unfortunately, there was underage woman, underage girl, and he got cut loose by Fox, so that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So basically, my contact says he's, quote, not a good guy, doesn't see him getting in under any scenario, Veterans Committee or otherwise. So, the permanent eligible list is that, that, Commissioner Manfred came down with. And I got to agree with it. Now, had he apologized sooner, I think, let's say if he apologized, the odds were better. Like, let's say if he apologized 30 plus years ago, I think fans would have forgiven him and they would have let him in. But now that ship has sailed, he's passed on. God rest his soul. Condolences to his family and teammates and whatnot. But it is what it is. So I think that ship has sailed.
Giant Sports Talk Live. We're on YouTube and X. I can't believe some of the just the way the numbers fall into place tonight, Tom. Tonight on our YouTube page, we've got about a dozen viewers. You're saying a dozen for this award-winning show? Come on! Over on X, Twitter, pulling in like 70 viewers over there. So, we got like 80 people in the stream right now. If you got a question for Tom, post it up in our chat. If you want, you can come over and join us on YouTube. We're at the Northern California Sports and Entertainment Network on the YouTube platform. You can like us, subscribe, hit the notification bell so when Tommy D's on, and you can race over to your laptop or your PC or your Mac. You can fire him up because he's got lots of great takes. 4-1 final, an empty netter. Jets beat Pittsburgh. I'm looking forward to the Sharks tomorrow. They'll be playing their game tomorrow at the Tank, so that one's going to be a late start for, Tom, I feel bad for you. You're in New York City, so when a game is coming on over here, you're already asleep, right, buddy?
Yeah, man, it's really hard. I mean, Friday night's the best to catch me, after work and stuff like that. But I do want to comment regarding Daniel. Yes, I met Namath in 2007. That was actually the same night I met Michael Kay. And great guy. And when I walked up to him, I said, quote, Mr. Namath, it's an honor to meet you. Coach Saban is going to take us back to the promised land, end quote. And we were talking about Nick Saban. And 6 national championships later, Coach Saban has passed the late great Bear Bryant. And I know Namath's a big golfer too. With regards to his comment about the steroid era, I don't know if Bonds gets in. I mean, but talent-wise, everything else like that. It's the thing about Bonds is he's kind of a reclusive guy in some sense, outspoken in others. It depends when you get him. But we're just going to see how the whole Bonds thing, and with Clemens as well. I mean, but Clemens actually asked for congressional hearing, and that did go well. So at least with Barry Bonds, he kind of kept that on the down low, and he never appeared before Congress. Then you had McGuire and Sammy Sosa and Palmero appeared before that, and those guys, got in, and it's just sad. It's a stain on the game, and maybe Veterans Committee down the road lets Bonds in. Maybe Roger Clemens gets in. I just don't know. I don't know. Daniel, no, I did not.
What's your take on this then? The game has changed. in every sport.
Yes.
The landscape, the geography of every sport has changed. And what I mean is, what do you think, Tom, when you go and you look at our post, you see guys will often come in and go, this guy doesn't deserve in the Hall, and Pete Rose doesn't belong in the Hall. But then I turn on the game tonight and I see an NHL game, and right on the helmet it says Bet 365 on it.
Exactly.
You've got teams playing in Las Vegas. You've got players, and they're out playing. We had one Cincinnati Red demoted this year, but no fines. No, not like because he was out till 8 a.m. at the casino and then had to go play an afternoon game, Tom. The landscape of every sport has changed, especially with teams moving to Vegas of all places. So do you think this is something we're going to look back in many years from now, perhaps, and go, what were they even thinking back then? I mean, gambling in sports and not getting in the Hall and cheating. And do you think that'll be forgotten in time?
I don't know if it'll be forgotten because baseball fans, we don't forget. The question is, will we forgive? And the thing about Rose is Joe Morgan was campaigning for him for years. And he was one of the top guys. He was basically the vice president of the surviving Hall of Famers. But there was a groundswell amongst other Hall of Famers. Rose does not get in. So they police him. They police themselves. So when you talk about the creme de la creme of the elite, there's levels within that. And then they say, hey, you know what? This guy doesn't deserve it. So it's not only the writers that have a vote, but also the Hall of Famers themselves. They have a say. And for years, it was no on Rose. And I just don't see it happening. Grand Admiral Shanahan, so yes, he served the life sentence. But I just don't think he gets in. Neither does my contact source at the Hall of Fame. So, yes, Johnny Bench does dislike. What's that?
Question from Daniel. Any love lost between Bench and Pete?
He's correct. Bench, to my knowledge, didn't like Pete Rose. So, and maybe, listen, there may have been stuff. I mean, the stuff my contact was talking about with regard to Rose, maybe that disgusted Johnny Bench, So, and you got to remember, Rose was a hard-playing guy. You look at that 1970 All-Star game, put his shoulder down at home plate, So
Ray Fosse play, right?
We shall see. Yeah,
Ray Fosse play. Well known in the Bay Area in Oakland, yeah.
And you know what? He was never
Johnny
the same again.
Johnny Hustle, or what was it? Charlie Hustle. The guy came to play. It didn't matter whether it was a charity game or an all-star game. Pete Rose knew only one way to play the game, didn't he, Tom?
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. I just feel bad.
Absolutely.
We all make mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, man, but I'm not held to the firing squad for it. It's kind of the world we live in too, isn't it? You catch a guy who's physically abusive to his bros or his buddies, or
right.
You've got something happens between a man and a woman, and there's any guy, you raise your voice these days. Seems like we're living in a world. There's not many second chances, Tom.
No, you're right. You're right. And listen, I love Pete Russell, Charlie. Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle. I slid into home plate like him, even at our old rec center. So it's I love the guy playing up. But now, over these years later, actually, one of my high school classmates met him in Las Vegas at a signing, and he always would do a signing in Cooperstown during Hall of Fame weekend. And this past summer, I was thinking about actually going to meet him to kind of just bury the hatchet to get the closure, and then he passed. So that ship has sailed. So, but I do want to comment on some of the comments. I mean, Grand Admiral Shanahan and others are making some great comments. I disagree about Todd Helton. I think he was a good induction. I think he was deserving. Yes, Jeff Kent, he should be in. With regards to Curt Schilling, okay, we're looking at 20 years now since the infamous bloody sock game. And now we could step back. I've never seen a guy who was a Hall of Famer, what he did with the Red Sox and with the Diamondbacks and with the Phillies, had that kind of success, ever talk himself out of being in a Hall of Fame. I've never seen it in any sport, but there's political and other reasons that he's literally no longer in the ballot. And actually, he should be in. As a Yankee fan, I hate to say that, but he is deserving. What he did, I tip my hat to him. And but hey, this guy just, I'm not big into cancel culture, but when you say things about the media like that, some pretty vile stuff. You could disagree with the media. That happens all the time. There's give and take. But what he said about media members and violence and stuff like that, that just has no place. Just no place. And that's why he talked himself out of the Hall of Fame. And it's a shame because he has the talent, but I think he's had bigger problems in his life. I know he's been banished pretty much from the Red Sox. He was not invited to the anniversary this past year, the 20th anniversary. Also with Tim Wakefield, God rest his soul, leaking that news out about his cancer. And I never forget seeing Tim Wakefield throw like a 58-mile knuckleball at Yankee Stadium years ago. I said, oh my God. But he's a great player.
They couldn't hit it.
Absolutely.
The only one, the only memorable Yankee hit against Tim Wakefield. What was the most memorable Yankee hit against Tim Wakefield?
2003 ALCS. My friend Otto was in the stands.
You remember who swung the bat? And he's still a Yankee today. All these years later, and he's still a Yankee, Tom.
Aaron Boone.
Dead into the night, man.
Unbelievable. I'll never forget that.
Yeah. I just saw that recently. Eric and I have been talking about a new series over on Netflix called The Comeback. Talks about 2004.
Not watching it. Not recommended.
Visit our sponsor of the show tonight, BetterCreditCards.com.
2 thumbs down.
BetterCreditCards.com, proud sponsor of the show, and they're proud to sponsor Eric and I over on Giants Sports Talk Live on Twitter, on YouTube. We'll join you on YouTube tonight. When are we on? We're on in about an hour and 10 minutes. It's been a marathon kind of day for me. I'm getting ready for our radio show tomorrow. Eric and I are on tonight. Eric and I did the 2-hour show featuring information, news updates on the signing today. As Mikey Yastrzemski was tendered a 1-year deal, $9.25 million. Oh, my goodness gracious. And, my friends, coming up tonight, we'll be talking on Giant Sports Talk Live about one Mr. Lamont Wade Jr. So there it is. Giant Sports Talk Live on YouTube, Twitter. Tonight gets underway 8, and that's, hey, if you say 8 o'clock, well, that was like an hour ago on my clock. See up there? But I'm in a different time zone right there. So we'll be on in about an hour from now. An update. Oh, boy. What do we got? I just had a text. One of our viewers on Twitter said, what's the update on the Warrior game? I'm in the car. 99-91. Now it's 102-96. So we do have an update on that game. I've got 102-96. Looks like the Warriors are on their way to another win. Let me just check with the crew here at Game Night Live for a live update, Tom. Golden State, here it comes. Golden State Warriors, close one tonight. We know they're in New Orleans. The score, 102-96. I've got 3:51 left on the clock. So if you're just joining us late, earlier we were talking about Juan Soto. Does he need to be the big fish? Does he need to play in a city where I'm the king? Tom says you think it's about the money. Let's talk about situation over in Flushing, something you and I haven't talked about for a while, Tom. You're in New York. You follow both clubs. You work a little radio. So you get to see both teams. You get to see the players. Not hear much of the polar bear. Any interest in him? Is he going to sign with the Mets? Is he going elsewhere? What are you hearing, Tom?
I have not heard a lot, and I'm glad you brought that up because everybody's been focused Soto, but very little. I mean, the Mets, homegrown guy, loved by everybody, great bat, and the Mets should make a priority to sign him. I mean, listen, Soto at this point is a hired gun. He'll make any team better, but I think the Mets really got to sign Polar Bear, Alonso. He's that popular, and
Yeah.
if they don't, it's going to be huge. And Steve Cohen's got the means to sign both guys. Now, what's the market on Polar Bear? Good question. So we shall see. Well, I saw one of the comments from Daniel. Veterans Committee like Cepeda. Yes. I was actually 25 years ago. I was at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony with my late father. Great class. Orlando Cepeda, Nolan Ryan, Robin Yount, Paul Molitor. Great class. One of the best classes, if not the best ever.
Paul Molitor, World Series winner.
What's that?
Paul Molitor, a World Series champion.
Absolutely. Great player. Great. Yep. Just a great class. So so with regards to Grand Admiral Shanahan, with regards to McGriff, I don't think. Yes.
All right.
I don't think they lowered the bar for McGriff. He was deserving, and buddy of mine, Dale, out of Michigan, was actually big campaigning to get McGriff in the Hall of Fame, and I think he was deserving. I do think Helton was deserving as well. Now, with regarding Will Clark, Keith Hernandez, Mark Grace, here's the thing. Remember, it's not the Hall itself; it is the writers.
Exactly.
The Hall of Fame is the final place. But if you're going to blame or credit anybody, blame the writers or credit the writers. But it's not a quote bad move by the Hall. It's just it's out of their hands. They vote on it, and then they get in the Hall of Fame. Veterans Committee, they'll come in and do their thing. So, but the Hall of Fame can't just say, Jane Forbes Clark just can't say who's the president and chair of the Hall of Fame. She can't say, well, Mark Grace gets in, or Fred McGiff gets in, or Helton gets in, or whoever. No. The writers make that decision. The Veterans Committee make that decision. It's not up to the Hall of Fame. So I just want to be, yes. So, yes, I blame the writers. It's been to a consistent. That's fair. And also one of the things my contact and I at the Hall of Fame were discussing the other night is the aspect of, I really hate it when guys are first ballot, like Derek Jeter, and you had one guy vote against him because these guys got egos and they think, well, guys shouldn't get in. Listen, Derek Jeter is as close to a unanimous Hall of Famer. Even Nolan Ryan. Look at Nolan Ryan, 98.75%. Mariano Rivera's only got to get, 100%. So I just don't like it when these guys think, hey, it's bigger than me. Now, if you want to maybe say CC Sabathia, okay, he doesn't get in on some first ballots. Okay, I could live with that. But Mariano, Jeter, Nolan Ryan, Ichiro, all should be unanimous.
Yeah.
All should be.
All right, we talked about some names earlier in the show. I want to take it a step further. What about guys who, if you take out the guys like Pete Rose, some of the names you've tossed about already, and there are reasons why they're not in that we won't necessarily get into tonight, but anybody who played a professional game, stayed out of trouble, just that one guy, Tom, that it irks you, geez, he didn't get the votes. Good question.
I would say, Keith Hernandez is one of those guys, Don Mattingly, one of my personal favorite, met him and Tino Martinez. Don Mattingly's deserving. And I think now what he's done as a manager will help his case.
And of course, he's a bench coach. He's up there in Toronto as well.
Yeah. I just hope he gets in on a veterans ballot or something. Definitely while he's alive, God willing, because he really deserves. Don Mattingly's my number one, I would say. Then Keith Hernandez, and there's other guys on that list, sure. So,
yeah, we got 80. We're fluctuating a little over 80 at times. Now we're down to 79. We got about 79 viewers right now, which I appreciate you guys to the utmost. I know Tom does as well. We appreciate you coming in.
Guys.
If you're over on the Twitter app, and a lot of you are, holy cow, we got over 70 in the Twitter alone right now. Do us a favor. Find us at Northern California Sports and Entertainment Network. We're on YouTube. if you're there, do us a favor and just like or subscribe. We'd appreciate the subscription. Subscribe to the channel. It's free. Just hit the subscribe button. If you like the show, helps us out. Just like the show, subscribe, and there's a notification button. It'll let you know when we're on. I'm going to be on Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. We wrap up the week tonight with Tommy D. Tommy, it's open floor right now. What do you want to talk about, discuss as the Golden State Warriors are on the verge of a victory? Just 1 minute left. Anything else you want to cover before we wrap things up in about 10 minutes?
Yeah, well, Warriors are looking great. If I was them, I would not have re-signed Draymond Green. I would have re-signed Klay Thompson. We've discussed that recently. One really interesting thing is it looks like Joel Embiid might have the injury bug again, some fluid on his knee. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because Brooklyn and Philadelphia are playing right now. This is one of the great times of year, because even though baseball season is officially over, you got the hot stove action, which makes it great. NFL, listen, my Bills beat Kansas City this past Sunday, and that was no small feat. They were undefeated. They had the refs in their corner. They had the officials, Taylor Swift. I mean, they had everything going for them. But Taylor Swift did not make the trip from Toronto down to Buffalo, the very short trip. So I don't know if there's anything. And as I said,
you're making some big money up there. She can't leave Toronto, man.
Well, she had the night off.
Hey, you say she was there, man. She didn't kick any field goals. What do you mean? What's she bringing to the table, Tom?
She's bringing a lot of viewers. According to Forbes magazine, before the Super Bowl in the 2023 season, you know what her economic impact was?
I wish she had some economic impact on my shows.
$336 million before the Super Bowl, from the beginning of the regular season until the championship game, and then the Super Bowl was the most watched. She had just come from Japan, a concert in Japan.
Flew
so,
back.
I'm not her core demographic, but I think she is talented. I think she's got great songs. I listen. I wish she dated one of the guys on the Bills. She could date Josh Allen. She could date the owner. She could date the coach. She could date anybody she wants.
Tommy,
even better.
let's be honest about it. She could date you.
Date me, absolutely. Let's
You're
make
out
it happen.
there on the market, Tom.
I'm out there. So listen. So I'm a pretty good karaoke singer, probably the greatest in the history of the world. So
Jesus,
to my horn too much.
No, you already are. My buddy Tom. Hey, we're going to be signing off soon. We talked about our topic of the night, Juan Soto. Hey, guys, if you're just tuning in earlier, just a little while ago, maybe within the hour, we found out that the Giants have tendered Lamont Wade Jr. Earlier today, Giants tendered our right fielder, Mike Yastrzemski. Somebody asked earlier in the chat about, do you honestly think that they're signing these guys to trade? I don't think they're signing Yastrzemski for $10 million and then trying to trade a $10 million contract. Guys, I think you're going to get stuck with what we got now. And we're going to talk more about it an hour. Let me just check the clock here. Yep. An hour from now, Eric and I'll be on over on Giants Sports Talk Live. That's going to be a big topic of discussion tonight, what's going on with the Giants, and same old. But before we wrap it up, Tom, just to, make it lighthearted, have some fun. If the guys were watching our sister channel, Giant Sports Talk Live, Eric was holding down the fort. I was scouting Giants talent in Mexico, looking for another Gerard Encarnacion. You and I ran into you. I go, are you the guy from Giant Sports Talk Live? Scared the hell out of you, didn't I?
You did, man. You did, man. You and
I go to an event called The Sands. It's a lot of 80s, 90s, even they throw in some 70s once in a while, but 80s and 90s rock and roll groups and pop groups. Did you have a great time?
I had a great time. Listen, one of the highlights was hanging out with you and Bernice, going on live on that Sunday night, doing the. I felt bad for Bernice because she was trying to go eat, and we just kept going on and on. So I had a great time. I do want to make a quick comment with regards to the comments Daniel had mentioned about the war, his Kings, Sacramento Kings. I had the pleasure of meeting Vlada Divac and Bobby Jackson, Peja Stojakovic, a bunch of the other Kings about 20 years ago. So I met him at Madison Square Garden, and also where the New Jersey Nets used to play at the Meadowlands before, they ended up in Brooklyn. And so just want to give them a shout out. Listen, the Warriors have to get they have to get into the playoffs. And if they face the Kings, that'd be another great playoff series. I know they had like the play-in tournament this past season, but listen, the Kings are no joke. I mean, the Warriors have these 4 championships over the past few years, but listen, I give the Kings a lot of respect too. And I'm excited about the NBA season, NFL, hockey, baseball, hot stove. It's always great talking sports with you, Glenn, and Eric, and everybody in the chat. So just want to thank you guys for so.
Couple of short snappers before we get out of here, too. We still got a few minutes left before we wrap things up. Just looking at the timer, we got about 10 minutes, a little less than 10 minutes left. So let's ask you a couple of quick questions. I talked about it earlier today on the impromptu show with Eric. I said the San Francisco Giants have had a lot of games weeknights. I'm sitting over there in a chilly Oracle Park. Tom, 14,000 people there. They're not getting any better. Could be another long summer. If there's no Funko Pop giveaway or Hawaiian shirt giveaway, some pretty dismal crowds during the week. This year coming, 2025, for the first time in the Bay Area, they've got competition from the WNBA who have sold out their season in one day. And they haven't even had a draft yet, Tom. They don't have a player on the roster, but the popularity of the league has grown to the point with Caitlin, of course, and Asia Wilson, and a lot of drama in the league too, Tom. But it's fueling an interest, and they sold out the season without a single player. If you're the Giants, are you concerned?
Yes, absolutely. I would be concerned. Because you're competing for that economic dollar. There, Glenn, you and Bernice might say, "Hey, listen, I want to go see. We want to go see that."
He already bought ours. I've got season tickets. So you know where I'm going to be? I'm going to be one of those Giants fans who won't be at the game. I'll be over at Chase Center.
Yeah.
That's why I asked the question. Do you think there's the economic impact?
Oh, absolutely.
San Francisco Giants. If they're not going to play hardball and play to win and build the team, there are going to be other ways to spend your entertainment dollar, Tom.
Absolutely. And I hope the Giants are listening to this, and I hope they do the sit down with you and Eric, and you could bring me on as a guest. They really need to take the consideration of the fans at this point, because people you can spend money at other places. I had a chance to speak to one of the building engineers when they were building the new stadium. It was about 06, 07, and the new stadium opened in 2009. And I asked him, said, "Look, is the new Yankee Stadium going to have a retractable roof?" I wasn't even looking for a dome. Just give me a retractable roof like Seattle or that Miami has right now. Toronto. I'll take that. And he said, "No, Toronto." Yeah. And he said, "No." And you know what? If it's rain, a really bad day, I'm not going. I'm not going to a game. I'm not going to risk sitting through a rain delay, getting sick, stuff like that. I got other things to do. And I think teams from now on out should just say, "Hey, listen, we got to give the entire economic package. We got to give the entire package. We got to get these games started and ended in a decent time." I know baseball doesn't have a time clock like other sports, but listen, the WNBA reminds me a lot of the 1990s NBA. Physical, you got some good rivalries. Let's say Magic Johnson and Larry Bird remind me a lot of Caitlin Clark and her nemesis, from LSU now going over to Chicago. It's just like, so, that's great. That's good for the league, that rivalry, so.
Thanks for a sponsor, bettercreditcards.com. Keeping with WNBA, you think it'll have an impact, a sold-out crowd coming in the summer of 2025 competing against the Giants for ticket prices, ticket purchases.
Yeah.
New York wins the WNBA championship. Do you follow the league? Were you happy? I love that name, and I love the color. The green they have, the Liberty.
I do. Actually, in 1997, I was at Madison Square Garden with my best friend from college, Bob, and we were at an arena football game. So as we're walking along, going to get some concessions during one of the breaks of the quarters or at halftime. As I'm literally walking down, out comes the elevator. Rebecca Lobo, great UConn legend, New York
Yep.
Liberty legend. And so literally we almost walked into each other. So I almost walked into Rebecca and the entire New York Liberty team. They were doing a promotion event. It was like their first season there. So I am a big WNBA fan. I don't watch as much as I'd like to, because of work and other stuff. But I've been to playoff games in about the mid 2000s. I'll never forget going to a game. There weren't a lot of people there, but I tell you what, the fans brought in. There was this one woman there. And let me tell you, she was going after the refs hard. I've never seen anybody or heard anybody curse harder at the refs than in my life. Becky Hammond was playing for the New York Liberty. And, she's a great Hall of Famer. And hopefully eventually she gets into the Hall of Fame, for her contributions as a player and assistant coach and a pioneer. So, but yeah, I'm a big fan. I love basketball, men's and women's. I think it's great. And actually, at another job in the summer of 2010, I was able to get some really good seats through a law firm that I was working at. They just happened to have extras, so I got like second row under the basket. It was really cool for free. The firm did that. So
you got more connections, man, than Lego. I'm telling you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So
you know everybody. We're glad you could drop by our show tonight. We were a little late going on the air because Eric and I were on. We ran over 2 hours with our impromptu show because, again, we wanted to cover. I got the stats and the facts here, but we'll talk more about it coming up on Giant Sports Talk Live tonight. Mike Yastrzemski's in another year, $9.25 million. We ran a little late, so Carter goes on for an hour. He took over his hour, so you and I went on about 57 minutes ago. We're closing in on our 1 hour show. I want to thank you for joining us today. An update. NHL, Jets, oh my God. The Winnipeg Jets win again, Tom. That team, they could set a record this year for wins the way they're playing. Nobody can touch them. It was close. 4-1 game. That's close for the Jets. My God. NBA tonight, Golden State Warriors. I think we're a little, we've got 1 second left on the clock. I think you and I called it a final already. It's like the politics here. We're calling it 110, 108. There's a little less than 1 second on the clock in that game. Sharks are back at it tomorrow night. They'll take the Buffalo Sabres by the swords and hurl them up into the crowd because the Sharks, I feel, are on the verge of a win. Coming up on Monday night, we're going to talk about the Sharks. Are they on the verge with Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith and Tyler Toffoli? Are they on the verge of the big breakout now? Rebuilding this franchise. Monday's topic, Sharks hockey. Hope you'll join me 6 p.m. Monday night. I can't wait for another Game Night Live. We'll take a look at scores around the league, maybe a special guest. Tom, you are always welcome on this show, brother.
Thanks, brother. Thanks. Appreciate everybody. Glenn, thanks to you and Eric for having me on. And it's great. Thanks to everybody in the chat. So, hope to be on soon.
All right. Well, Catton always appreciates when you come on, as do I.
Thank you.
Yeah, great job as always. Tommy D, our special guest. Morkatna, you are one of the many who've dropped by into the show tonight with your comments, your thoughts. A big shout out to Tommy D from Morkatna. Let's see.
Grand Admiral Shanahan, yes, we will sing karaoke. Next time in Mexico, we'll have to make.
Did you sing karaoke this past year?
I did not. I did.
It is?
It's so really.
I did.
Which night?
Oh my goodness, Tom! I kid you not. I sung karaoke. Let's see if I have the date here. I don't know if we can call up the date because I have a picture. Not of the karaoke per se, but I'll tell you why we have a picture. The night of karaoke. Do I have the picture? I don't know if I saved it. Bernice takes a lot of pictures, and I end up throwing them away. I had a picture on karaoke night. Darn it. I don't have the picture, Tom. Here it is. I sang karaoke, I believe, on the Tuesday night.
Okay.
And there I am.
Nice.
I got in my car. See all the cards I got there?
Yes, sir.
You know who that is?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Brian from Revenge of the Nerds.
That's right. Brian Toshi. from Revenge of the Nerds.
Great guy. Great
movie, great guy. And that's one thing Tommy and I were talking about, kind of just to easing our way out of this show, is we go to an event called The Sands, put on by Steve Robinson of, I think he's down in Michigan, somewhere in the Detroit area. He puts on the show. It's on next year again in Mexico. They're going to keep it in Mexico. He brings in people from the movies, musicians, meet and greets. I mean, Tom, there I am. I just walked up to him. He signed my cards. He's like, hey, let's get a pic. You don't even have to ask. Let's get a picture. You know what it's like, Tom, how friendly they are and the fun we have, the shenanigans.
5 years ago at Moon Man Bob's Beach Bash, the beer
Bobby
exchange.
Bennett.
I don't even drink beer, but Bob Bennett, great guy. And actually just great hanging out with Brian, getting to know him. I saw him again this year. And I said, hey, Brian, do you mind? Because Keegan and her husband, they were there, and they were filming a bunch of stuff. I said, listen, do you mind if I get the Nerds chant going? He's like, listen, just give us about 10 minutes, because they were wrapping it up. And I just met Lou Graham from Foreigner, Hall of Famer.
Wouldn't be that guy right there, would it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right on cue. Oh, we couldn't have scripted it any better, my friend. Look at that. Signed my Foreigner 4 album. Hall of Famer. Yes, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, hold that up, brother. Hold that up, man. That is nice. Awesome. Yeah, so I met Lou. I actually met his brother, had lunch with his brother a couple of years ago. And then there was the big line for the Nerds and for Lou. But because Lou was only signing from about 11 to noon, I went to go meet, I told Dave Garr, happy 60th to Dave, by the way, from Michigan. And I said, Dave, look, and I'm gonna go see Lou, but then I want to make sure I'm in the Nerds line. And I ended up being at the end of the Nerds line with Hope and her husband, Darren, and a whole bunch of great folks. And yeah, I got to, so at the end, Hope's in her, the Nerds, they remember, Julie and everything. She's a real nice person, by the way. Julie Montgomery and everybody, Brian was there. Larry was there.
She just texted me this morning, Julie Montgomery.
Oh, yeah, cool. No, she's great. She's great. Yeah, on Facebook. Yeah.
Tom, you go to these events, I kid you not. They'll walk up to, after 2 or 3 times, you meet them, you hang out with them, a couple of pops with them. They're like, hey, Glenn, how you doing? You run into them in the airport or downtown San Francisco. They're like, hey, Glenn, what's up? Like, it's like these people. You're part of a family there.
Absolutely. And actually, it's Julie. We stay in touch. She was at a Dodgers game, so I had to, talk to her about that.
You and the Dodgers. Oh,
so, but I am her favorite Yankee fan. So that's, so we got that. It's on the record. It's on the record. Right. It's on the record established. So yeah, Julie's great. And some of the other folks I've gotten to know, some of the other actors over the years, they've been just really nice people, because I think enough time's passed, and I think they're grateful that we remember them, and just getting to talk to them a little bit about our lives, and they've had great success, and just, hey, what's it like and stuff like that. So just a lot of great fun. Got to talk to Alan Hunter again this year. I was on the flight with Mark Goodman. He was the first voice on MTV. Richard Blade have become good friends with. K-Rock and
downtown Julie Brown. Always a fan favorite.
Julie is awesome. She took my picture with Jody Watley back in 2017 at the original Sand. So
was it you? Awesome. Wait a sec. Was it Tommy D? Were you the guy running around trying to get her to sign your copy of Playboy magazine? She was on and Playboy. No, that wasn't Tommy.
That was
no. I'm making them blush on the show. I love it. Yeah, they're all great bands. There's been some announcements of bands that are going to be there next year. I thought one of the highlights of the week was Billy Ocean. I didn't know if I'd say, I'll check it out. What a show he put on. Love really hurts without you. And of course, Bret Michaels, Poison, the entire Poison lineup, the originals, they're back touring.
In 2026, 40th anniversary. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Bret was great. He had Mark McGrath, Lou Graham. Those were great guests.
Before we wrap up, one more quick one. Musically, did you go to the Final Kiss concert?
Yes, I did.
You bugger. See, Tommy's everywhere, and he's right here on Game Night Live, a Northern Lights Entertainment production. Want to thank you for coming in, buddy, on a busy Friday night. Eric and I are back at 9. I'll tell you what, it's been a whole lot of fun. Always welcome on our show.
Thanks, Len. I really appreciate your friendship over the years. Give my best to Bernice, Eric, the whole crew, everybody in the comments. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
Jets 4, Penguins 1. That's a final. Sharks play tomorrow night. Golden State Warriors, they win. Let me just make sure we got it right. I don't want to give you false information, mislead you. We had 110. 108 is the final. I'm just going to double check. 110.
Oh, it went 112. It went 112 was the final.
Oh, they hit one late. You know what? Just because I don't want anybody to say we 112, 108, wasn't it?
Yep. They scored because there was about a second left, and then they were leading 110, 108, but they added a couple of points. Yeah.
On Game Night Live, we have a scoreboard update. Golden State Warriors in a close one tonight at New Orleans. Once again, it's 112, 108. There you go. Giants tender Lamont Wade Jr. this evening, earlier today. Lamont Wade Jr. and Yastrzemski. Going to talk about that on our sister channel, Giant Sports Talk Live, coming up in about 40 minutes from now. Check us out on YouTube or X. It's all coming your way tonight with yours truly. It's been a busy day. And Eric Romo, once again, it's Giant Sports Talk Live. That's over on X, as well as our YouTube platform. Thanks to our sponsor, BetterCreditCards.com, for the credit card of your desire and your needs. BetterCreditCards.com, they'll have you covered. That's it for yours truly. Glenn, Tommy D, appreciate you dropping by, buddy. We'll catch you for another fun-filled show. Next time you're on, it's going to be a whole lot of fun, Tom.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great night.
You've been watching the Northern California Sports and Entertainment Network, a Northern Lights Entertainment broadcasting station.